in Hamburg.
A few more pictures, and then please, thank you for standing ovation.
I could see taking pictures of me when I was 25. This is ridiculous. They've mistaken me for a Victoria's Secret lingerie model.
You look as young as ever, and as we say in Germany, we'll never get together as young as you say.
His nose is starting to grow. I'm going to read this on my iPad, and it better work, because otherwise I'm stuck with German. It would be funny for the first 30 seconds, and believe me, after that, probably not so much. I'm going to read from a little way into the book. Sometimes the easiest thing to do with a reading is to start from the very beginning, because then you don't have to do this whole summary thing and go blah, 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 this happened and that happened. But this is very simple. Dan Torrance, as a grown-up, goes to work in a hospice, and because he has this shining ability to touch other minds, he's particularly good at helping patients in the hospice who are in the final minutes and hours, the hours of their lives. And so he's gotten this nickname of Dr. Sleep. And the section that I want to read to you is the first time that we see Dan with a patient. And I guess the only other thing I need to say is that this takes place during a blizzard in February. The patient's name is Charlie Hayes. He's very old and he's dying of leukemia. I'm pretty scared, Charlie said. His voice was little more than a whisper. The low, steady moan of the wind outside was louder. I didn't think I would be, but I am. There's nothing to be scared of. Instead of taking Charlie's pulse, there was really no point. He took one of the old man's hands in his. He saw Charlie's twin sons at 4 on swings. He saw Charlie's wife pulling down a shade in the bedroom, wearing nothing but a slip of Belgian lace he bought her for their first anniversary. Saw how her ponytail swung over one shoulder when she turned to look at him. Her face lit in a smile that was all yes. He saw a Farmall tractor with a striped umbrella raised over the seat. He smelled bacon and heard Frank Sinatra singing "Come Fly With Me" from a cracked Motorola radio sitting on a work table littered with tools. He saw a hubcap full of rain reflecting a red barn. He tasted blueberries and gutted a deer and fished in some distant lake whose surface was dappled by steady autumn rain. He was 60, dancing with his wife in the American Legion Hall. He was 30, splitting wood. He was 5, wearing shorts and pulling a red wagon. Then the pictures blurred together the way cards do when they're shuffled in the hands of an expert, and the wind was blowing big snow down from the mountains, and in here was silence and the house cat's solemn, watching eyes. At times like this, Dan knew what he was for. At times like this, he regretted nothing. None of the pain and sorrow and anger and horror, because they had brought him to this room while the wind whooped outside. Charlie Hayes had come to the border. I'm not scared of hell. I lived a decent life, and I don't think there is such a place anyway. I'm scared that there's nothing. He struggled for breath. A pearl of blood was swelling in the corner of his right eye. There was nothing before. We all know that. So don't it stand to reason that there's nothing after? But there is, Dan said, and wiped Charlie's face with a damp cloth. We never really end, Charlie. I don't know how that can be or what it means. I only know that it is. Can you help me get over? They say you can help people. Yes, I can help. He took Charlie's other hand as well. It's just going to sleep And when you wake up, you will wake up. Everything is going to be better. Heaven? Do you mean heaven? I don't know, Charlie. The power was very strong tonight. He could feel it flowing through their clasped hands like an electric current, and cautioned himself to be gentle. Part of him was inhabiting the faltering body that was shutting down and the failing senses that were turning off. He was inhabiting a mind that was still as sharp as ever and aware it was thinking its last thoughts, at least as Charlie Hayes. The bloodshot eyes closed, then opened again, very slowly. Everything's all right, Dan said. You only need to sleep. Sleep will make you better. Is that what you call it? Yes, I call it sleep, and it's safe to sleep. Don't go. I won't. I'm with you. So he was. It was his terrible privilege. Charlie's eyes closed again. Dan closed his own and saw a slow blue pulse in the darkness. Once, twice, stop. Once, twice, stop. Outside, the wind was blowing. Sleep, Charlie. You're doing fine, but you're tired and you need to sleep. I see my wife, the faintest of whispers. Do you? She says. There was no more. Just a final blue pulse behind Dan's eyes and a final exhalation from the man on the bed. Dan opened his eyes, listened to the wind, and for one last thing, it came a few seconds later, a dull red mist that rose from Charlie's nose, mouth, and eyes. This was what an old nurse in Tampa, one who had about the same twinkle as some friends of Dan's, called the gasp. She said she had seen it many times. Dan saw it every time. It rose and hung about the old man's body, then it faded. Dan slid up the right sleeve of Charlie's pajamas and felt for a pulse. It was just a formality. Then he left the room and went down to the nurse's station to report a death on the floor. Thank you.